Apologies up front if I sound a tad hoarse. I've been trying to shake this dang cold for weeks now. Hey, you know what's kind of fun and weird? This last 4th of July gave me this thought, right? Did you ever think when you were a kid that fireworks would just be available to any random person to buy? Like, let alone that we now have straight, like, weed stores that sell mushrooms and shit. It's great, but still wild when you consider where we were at with that stuff, like, what, 10, 15, 20 years ago?
I guess I figured anything my dad bought would be readily available for anybody to buy, but he sold cable too, so who knows?
I mean, I thought they would be available to buy. What I didn't expect was being able to go into like a Target or Walmart and buy them.
Yeah, at the front too.
Yeah,
like it's
like front and center.
Yeah,
There was one
just right at the entrance. Like, grab it on your way out.
At Target, there's one that's just a sword that you light and it just sprays sparks while you swing it. And I was like, that sounds dangerous.
Does it look like the Minecraft one, just to really,
no,
cater to the youth?
No.
Well, what's next? You feel? I mean,
drugs.
The next most permissive thing to just sell anywhere?
Yeah.
I mean, gambling right now, I guess, but...
Yeah.
Well, that's becoming more and more, legalized.
Yeah, in a
it's
way,
gone
that's
past.
the problem.
There's a casino in Philly now. That didn't used to exist.
Oh, no, we're talking about... I don't know if you're talking about gambling.
Oh, having, like, slot
I'm talking
machines?
About betting.
Oh, sports betting was...
Sports betting has
gone...
There was gone Simpsons, from illegal, very illegal,
yes,
to not so illegal in a couple states, including New Jersey, to just straight up being
it's
like
a hellscape.
Like the commentators in the NFL telling you what to bet on before the game starts.
Oh, and it's decorated too, just littered with all the ads. Just you're inundated everywhere you look. And I was watching an old episode of The Simpsons with Liz the other day, and like there was a joke about illegal gambling, sports betting in it, rather. And I was like, that used to be a thing. That's so, like...
My favorite is the John Oliver episode on sports betting where they talk about how illegal bookies are actually more considerate than the corporations that are now running sports betting.
True Gooden has a great video also.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Although on the inverse of this, I guess, guns used to be for sale wherever. Like Dick's Sporting Goods and whatnot. So.
Well, not in this state.
No, I suppose you're right. So today's tale isn't going to be a happy subject, I'm afraid, because on this episode, we will bear witness to what happens when the bad guys win. When bigoted hackers happen to destroy the legacies of not just one, but 2 award-winning game series near and dear to my heart. This in the summer of 2021, with several semi-related coordinated crusades by shitheads in order to harass and intimidate. Unfortunately, due to their online connectivity and the publisher's pursuit of profit over preservation, both owners of these beloved franchises came to the cowardly conclusion that it wasn't worth the fight and thus would rather abandon the efforts of thousands of artists in favor of simply delisting instead of protecting their talent as well as fans from needless retaliation. Sure, you could absolutely declare that these anti-consumer systems were doomed in the first place. However, it's still sad to see the loss of so much hard work and how we, as an industry, will also learn nothing from this and are only going to experience similar practices in the future, even without the help of assholes expediting the process. This is Hot Button. I'm a disappointed Randall Beatrice, here with my video gaming soapbox archivist believers, Austin Blakesley.
Yo.
And joining us on Discord, Andrew Banks.
Yo, that's me. And I will say that, like, you started this off saying it won't be a happy episode, but, like, as near and dear to me as game preservation is, you've covered some way darker stuff than this episode. So. Oh
yeah. I guess don't take that too literally. This is more just kind of like a bummer. Like it's just a drag. Yeah. It won't contain as much murder or.
Right, exactly my point.
Yeah, what else we discussed?
I want you to name me 5 happy stories in video games from the past year.
Baldur's Gate 3 beat Zelda for Game of the Year. Hi-Fi Rush.
That's opinion.
Hi-Fi Rush got unshut down by Crafton, right?
Yes, they're still figuring that out.
Crafton, by the way, the same publisher that just pulled that shit with Subnautica 2.
Oh, yeah. No, look,
Oh,
we
right.
just want the
Yeah.
happy stories, Austin. We don't have to bring up the stupid stuff.
Happy
that they just
stories
did this
only.
week.
I know, but is it a happy story if it's linked to a depressing story?
There was a long enough pause in there. And I know we'll each
You're right.
likely have much to say on the topic as the conversation continues to be ever present and consistently relevant to endless releases, especially in the modern age. To keep it more on track for now, though, the pair of targets that I was referring to in my intro were none other than Sony's trilogy of delightful 2.5D puzzle platformer creation titles, LittleBigPlanet 1 through 3, and EA's magnificent sci-fi first-person parkour shooter, Titanfall. I love these fucking games. The former at one point was even a pillar of PlayStation's marquee properties, with the character Sackboy serving as their official mascot in the PS3 era, prior to be executed by Astrobot into the 9th generation of home consoles. That's not an exaggeration, right? Like,
No, Astrobot did curb stomped him.
Wasn't that in the news with like the PlayStation Studios logo or whatever? Like,
Yes,
they
yeah.
took Sackboy out and put Astrobot in. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like it's just putting a really fine point on exactly what we just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Its premier 2 entries were developed by British studio Media Molecule in 2008 and 2011, respectively, with the third installment being handled by another English team called Sumo Digital in 2014, while focused on their upcoming projects, such as Tearaway and later spiritual successor to LittleBigPlanet Dreams.
Sumo Digital also did the Vita version of LittleBigPlanet.
Yes, that's right, that's right. Though I think that was like more a port, right?
It was one of those things where it's like the content's here from the other games, but it's in a weird, different package.
Yeah. There were also portable versions, as Austin said, and spin-offs, but 1 and 2 specifically were met with commendable sales and near critical acclaim, a whopping 95 and 91 on Metacritic, with high praises for its unique aesthetic, use of local multiplayer, hell yeah, humor, soundtrack, shout out to the band Battles, and innovative engine that it came packaged with. Along with a full story and entire modification component where players could customize, insert, or construct original assets to make whatever they wanted in parity with the in-software tools provided.
I'll also just interject here real quick and say that by complete happenstance, not related to that minute amount of research that I did before this episode, I happened to be on a Steam page for a Sumo Digital game just before we started recording. And we can come back to that when we stand on our soapbox later. Okay, all right.
That online stuff I mentioned, it was incredibly novel, particularly for the time, even if it was an aspect of the game that I personally very rarely participated in. And that was told to be a major influence on everything from Nintendo's Super Mario Maker to goddamn Minecraft. Peter Molyneux was so impressed that he named it as one of the most important works out there during his tenure at Lionhead. And he would never lie.
I'm surprised he didn't say his own work.
Yeah, I am too.
The most important thing not made by me, LittleBigPlanet.
Titanfall, on the other hand, saw its debut in March of 2014 for the PC and Xbox One. It was the brainchild of former COD devs at Infinity Ward through their new venture Respawn and under Electronic Arts. They built a tight and fast PvP FPS with PvE elements on top of Valve's regarded Source Engine, and threw in giant anime-inspired mechs to pilot in the midst of large combat arenas filled with active NPC, soldiers, and robots. It was fucking sick. And let it be known, the movement alone is still some of the best in the genre. The best period, if you ask me. There was wall running, jetpack, double jumping, melee takedowns. The weapons were cool and innovative. Never forget the smart pistol. Its gritty portrayal of a capitalistic dystopia a la Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell were rad. Alas, while it dominated the E3 circuit and reviews were favorable to its balancing, controls, and optimization, there was notable criticism come launch day for its distinct lack of single-player or offline options, community features, and no port to PS4. I am completely aware that I was one of the few who did enjoy its bizarre radio play style narrative that ran over top the matches. But luckily for me,
definitely one of the few, because
I know,
is it hard to pay attention to anything that's going on when you have to because the story mode is really just the radio play playing out on top of the multiplayer mode, and it's just like
they were trying to give context for like deathmatch, but so you could argue it's a bit of a sensory overload, but I thought it was neat.
No, that's 100% what it was. It was a sensory overload. It was impossible to pay attention to the match and the story at the same time.
Yeah. But luckily for me and their enthusiasts, the foundation of gameplay was so strong and so smooth that many of these issues would be amended in 2016 with its sequel, Titanfall 2. What was expanded upon for us were numerous additions to its loadouts and unlockables, extra modes, and not to mention what honestly might be the greatest shooter campaign ever this side of Half-Life 2. It's perfectly paced, the levels instantly memorable. Tragically, despite the improvements and even getting nominated for fucking Game of the Year at the Keeleys, this fantastic follow-up performed slowly out of the gate, with multiple sources theorizing it was thanks to EA's terrible choice of release window in between Activision's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and their fucking own Battlefield 1. It was really unfair because it didn't stand a chance against those IP juggernauts that had existed for a decade plus. At least the positive word of mouth did spread, and T2 managed to grow through the ensuing years to achieve a sort of cult status.
And they turned it into a battle royale.
And
I don't know how much I'd actually lay at the feet of the release window. Like at some point, I think it's just like
there was some cannibalization involved. You have 3 high-profile first-person shooters within like 10 days.
There's at least some, but like I don't think Titanfall was ever really going to hit the same kind of audience that would go for Call of Duty or Battlefield, right? It's like
I don't think. But the first one came out in like a June or something, and I think that was a better. You had a less competitive kind of market.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not convinced that like a different release date would have done too much more for it. Honestly, you know, I just feel like there is just less appeal in those other decidedly mass appeal games.
I think if the release date was after Call of Duty, it would have done a lot.
When people realized both those games were disappointing.
Yeah, only because everybody hated Infinite Warfare because it was just a bad version of Titanfall.
Yeah. And this is all the worse when any prospect of a third was squashed because of the short-lived popularity of Battle Royale spin-off service title Apex Legends. Anyway, this isn't why we are here. As much as I could wax poetic on either of these games, we're about to get into the ugly stuff. So the responses to each of these hacks began in May of 2021, literally in the same week, but I thought it'd probably be easier to give our attention to one sole victim at a time. First, LittleBigPlanet. What I should state, here is that servers were previously sunsetted in Japan for LBP1. However, its online community submissions are accessible and backwards compatible in 2 and 3, meaning technically nothing was deleted yet. You can store your creations locally, although I presume unloading it from your PS3 to, say, a PC takes a bit of finagling. All right. So in the months...
Actually, do you want to stop on that for a second?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I remember when the PS3 was pretty new, right? Keep in mind what we were used to doing to transfer save files and stuff even back then, which was you would just get your memory card from your system and put it in your friend's system. And then suddenly it's like, okay, well, we don't really need memory cards because we have a hard drive built into this thing. And I don't remember if this was the case on PS3 yet, but it definitely became the case on PS4 eventually.
Did the PS3 have cloud saves?
If it did, it was
way
like
later.
Way later.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, 360 added that down the road too, but...
Right, but the thing is that it was like they would not... Eventually, I don't know if this was the case at the PS3, but eventually there was no intended way for you to transfer your saves except for having an online subscription for cloud saves. So,
Nintendo still does that.
Started to go wrong. No, that's what I mean. This was the progenitor of this bad business practice, right? It's like we used to have access to do this without an upsell.
You couldn't just pop the hard drive out of the PS3 like you could.
Sony in 2012 is making the same mistakes that Nintendo is making in 2025. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So in the months even preceding to May, supposedly a number of DDoS attacks were, or DDoS, attacks were committed that March. This according to Eurogamer. And was, quote, orchestrated by an individual unhappy with Sony's treatment of the franchise.
Do you want to put in a brief explainer of what a DDoS attack is?
Yeah, actually, that would be good. I think we explained it once on our show before, but that was...
we did the Sony, the big one.
Yeah.
When they brought down the PlayStation Network for a month. We explained it then.
Okay. All right. Just quick recap, I guess, in case we went on...
Yeah, no, give us a refresher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically just so much traffic is coming to a server at once. In this case, it's malicious. and not real traffic, that it overloads its ability to accept new requests, right? So it brings the whole server down.
Yeah. And
it stands for designated denial of service?
Distributed denial of service.
Oh, distributed
denial of service.
Oh, a dedicated sounds... I think I
said designated. But a DDoS...
it is distributed, yep.
Directed?
Yeah. Distributed is specifically... Correct me if I'm wrong, but specifically malicious. Because your server can go down from a bunch of traffic, but a DDoS attack is specifically...
Yeah, there's a difference between...
a pointed flow of traffic to bring a server down.
Right.
Exactly. They can't just deny one IP address to stop the attack because it's coming from so many different places.
Yeah.
So there's sparse details as to what they meant by this. I guess there hadn't been a mainline entry in a while. I don't know. There's got to be way, way more egregious offenders of that. And also I couldn't locate any concrete proof that this was truly the case. So take that explanation with a heaping grain of salt. Regardless, they also knocked offline their companion website, to which these combined aggressions soon led PlayStation to initiate an investigation, and that online connectivity may be spotty during their assessments, Sony urged on their socials for people to stay patient as the matter was resolved, except then in the succeeding weeks, those that were able to circumvent the PSM problems in the midst of these fixes, once described as an ordinary update patch with regular security tests, we're now faced with some pretty gross shit. By April, screenshots started to circle around from users who'd be exposed to unwarranted pop-up fake error text boxes containing hateful messages, including several with homophobic and transphobic slurs.
Great.
While it isn't unusual for discriminatory language or content to sneak its way past the implemented censorship tags, most notably on older Hangout spaces that are less regulated than they once were, this felt more frequent and more premeditated. And there's a bonus layer of intentional scumminess to it, considering that it was inflicted on a product, like a product aimed at an all ages audience.
What year is this?
2021.
Okay. There is a little side note, completely unrelated. There was a Harvard, I believe, study conducted recently about brain chemistry after being infected with COVID and how it might deteriorate parts of your brain that
would explain a lot.
Suppress aggression.
We're all just pent up.
They're in the very beginning, early stages of...
During those informative years, I would say, of your life, especially.
They're in the very early stages of testing this, but there is some evidence to support the fact that multiple COVID infections might make you a more aggressive person.
Yikes.
Which, something to think about while we talk about the rest of this.
The timeline would line up?
Yep.
I'm not going to read any of the phrases in these posts, obviously, on our podcast, as A, I wouldn't be comfortable with potentially hurting a listener. B, there's no need to give these fucks the satisfaction. And C, many are deleted and have been scrubbed from the internet.
And D, you know what they say.
Yeah, use your imagination.
And if you don't, you sweet summer child.
Sony, being understandably pissed, then decided that May on the 21st to yank the plug on any, LittleBigPlanet related services, thus temporarily nuking its entire platform. Quote, due to the severity of the recent attacks, we have no other option than to disable the servers. We do not take these attacks lightly, especially when they target our loyal community members. This from their Twitter account. And as a reminder, this does affect all three titles that coexist together across the PS3 and PS4 bases. The controversy was then exploding beyond what the console manufacturer was hoping to keep quiet. And reportedly, the games had been dealt with this type of challenges before. For example, in 2020, where somebody claimed to have stolen profile keys to then upload thousands of junk stages simultaneously in a scheme to cripple their server limits. It's like DDoSing, but like...
Oh, what? Like what? Why LittleBigPlanet?
I know. As far as the perpetrator...
There are so many games that
is more deserving.
That are more deserving of this.
I'm guessing it's simply because they found a way to do it and they could.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Because that's exactly what I was going to ask here. Because as far as the perpetrator with this goes, players in the press were split on, whether it was the effort of a single hacker or hacker group. But, more importantly, like, what was the purpose?
Do you think LittleBigPlanet was woke? Do you think that was it?
Was it to send a statement on the closure of support and partial ownership of software that was already paid for? Was it an
Doubt it.
undisclosed ransom for money? Or, as Andrew said, was it just to be a dick and that they could? Like, we'll likely never be given a solid answer.
I would love to believe that there was a message there about ownership and whatever, and how all this stuff is not built to last, but I sincerely doubt it. I feel like there would have been a public statement to go along with it if that was the case.
Yeah. So this is where it becomes difficult to piece a cohesive narrative, as things were to remain suspiciously silent right up to this drastic and lackluster solution late that following September, again on the 21st, or the 4-month anniversary of when the full shutdown occurred. The good news is that the PlayStation 4 servers for LittleBigPlanet 3 were back running, and that they will be dedicated to keeping those hubs safe for the seeable future. The bad news is that was all they managed to save. The PS3 and Vita servers were permanently deactivated indefinitely. Mind you, this was in the same year that backlash from fans railing against Sony's plans to shutter the functions of these storefronts and multiplayer games, to actually them withdrawing the notion, saying it was a terrible mistake. So, the PS3 and Vita stores are now like trucked on, and more than we could say about 360.
So it's weird though, because like Xbox does have like their forward compatibility where
Yes, that
is
is
mitigated.
It all kind of shares
And then,
the same.
Yeah,
system.
and with those, like that is your entire ability to re-download games when you've exceeded your storage capacity.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's like those games are just gone if you shut those servers down.
It's real precarious.
Installed, they're gone.
That's real precarious. Well, they could have just gone the Nintendo route and made it tied to your system, and then for the Wii and
then you need a YouTuber to pay 6 people full time for a year to back everything up and donate it to a museum. Like, that's not a great solution either.
Oh man, I fell for that twice because I think I did it on the 3DS for a little. Eventually, I was like, "All right, fuck this. I'm never participating in that again." No one thought their purchases were going anywhere in conjunction to that debacle, nor were they prepared for such a move spearheaded by the company's XDev subsidiary. This, as I assume Sony themselves, were plenty distracted with the newly released PlayStation 5, Media Molecule, perhaps too busy with supporting Dreams, and Sumo Digital with Sackboy's big adventure or whatever. I'll bet they crunched the numbers, and deploying resources to pull those lesser trafficked ships out of their inevitable sinking just wasn't worth the cost. In spite of the choice, they issued a formal apology explaining that they knew it'd be a disappointing resolution. I'd also add that it sets a concerning precedent as well. Whoever was responsible received no repercussion, and we didn't even get to the worst part of this whole disaster. Although acquired DLC and generated materials downloaded on your OG hardware will work, this alongside any previously uploaded content that was properly transferred over to the PS4 edition of 3, literally everything else was forever wiped into the ether unless you backed shit up yourself or had it saved on a device. There were those extremely grateful that the bulk of the series' library of customs were restored. I am gracious to that. But general reaction was still negative. This primarily due to their hazy transparency if this vulnerability with other titles was possible, and the fact that this is supposed to be a AAA product from a mega publisher. It shouldn't be this easy to beat them at a cyber war. There wasn't a ton of incentive to hop back into creating and sharing content if it was totally impenetrable to another not dissimilar fate. I mean,
The truth is, no matter the caliber of the company behind it, security vulnerabilities pop up all the time, right? Treat them as inevitable because they are.
And I got bad news for you. They're only going to get more common as the days go by. Of course.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, too. It's I did mention I did a tiny bit of research ahead of this episode, and basically what I was looking for was sparked by something I heard about Super Mario Maker, which we did mention is... Yes. LittleBigPlanet, even if it's not in the public consciousness now, was a major, that's what I'm looking for, a major inspiration for the user-generated content scene.
For sure.
Because it made this level creation so easy. And so, I was like, okay, well, how many levels were there or whatever, right? I looked it up in back of the napkin math. millions, maybe
Yes,
tens of millions. Right?
I'm actually gonna. I was about to. Yeah, read that.
So the reason why I looked that up is because I remember hearing that Mario Maker levels were determined to basically just be JSON files, which, if you don't know what that is, just assume it's basically text. It's basically just like very small text files. It's just a way of organizing data. Very like
I guess it's pretty simplistic. So yeah, if you could compress that down.
If you've ever done HTML,
yeah,
JSON file is kind of like that, where there's like a tag and then data within the tag. It's just formatted differently.
Yep. So so good chance that LittleBigPlanet, if they're storing literally millions of these levels and they weren't concerned about storage limits at all, which it sounds like they probably weren't, I'm guessing they were stored in a similar way. Which means that the kind of storage that we're talking about to hold all of those files would be the kind of thing you could walk into a Micro Center with $10 in your pocket and walk out with a flash drive that could fit them all. You know, like that's probably the size that we're talking about of what each level is. So
that's interesting because I got bad news.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, instead of having this server dependency where they're like, okay, well, if you downloaded all of those levels individually one at a time through their software interface that interfaces with their server or whatever, like that's how you could have like legitimately backed them up, I guess. But alternatively, if they would just let you read files off of a flash drive, anyone could have afforded to just get all of the levels ever made for the game in bulk and then
exactly. Man, I'm glad you're exempt. That just makes us more frustrating. And also, I said bad news. I'm going to say worse news.
Also, if you could parse the JSON files and figure out what they say, you could make a third-party editor.
Oh, like a directory to be able to.
You could just make like a weird PC GUI that creates the JSON file for you, and then you could just upload it without the need for the game.
So, if you're listening to this, LittleBigPlanets 1, 2, and 3 have each been delisted for purchase from every PlayStation platform. Psych, even that most recent installment that they promoted with the PS4, like that version, that was removed and had ceased all operations suddenly on January 8th, 2024, because you'll never fucking guess what happened then. Apparently, malware was discovered that falsely banned accounts from the network, ironically triggered by perceived hate speech. Except this go around, they couldn't even be bothered in an attempt to pretend to find a ratification. And so on April 19th that spring, it was decided that things would die again, for real this time, really rendering that rescue mission pointless. And so with little to no warning, every single level, puzzle, song, costume, building, vehicle, character, object, audio clip, writing, that functional in-game calculator someone made, those recreations of 1-1, gone. Erased with zero way to get it back. Tens of millions of tirelessly crafted submissions in the span of a 16-year history flushed down the drain in an instant. Blink of an eye.
All because of censorship, right? They're trying to be woke. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're trying to ban hate speech.
Fuck your imagination.
Yeah.
Folks were now justifiably furious and done with this shit. With no available ports to computers or modern systems, your only silver lining here is that the physical discs are fairly cheap and the story mode can be experienced offline and with friends in its entirety, or in those trophies. Well, thankfully, those affected users were unsuspended with their records cleared of wrongdoing imposed by the quote-unquote massive glitch.
Yes, but can I still replay the 1-to-1 recreation of Dead Space inside of LittleBigPlanet 2?
No, I'm afraid not. Unless you had it maybe downloaded locally.
I had it downloaded locally, but then somebody broke my PS3.
Wait, that wasn't...
I'm not going to say who, but they're in this room with me.
There has to be a...
Is it Fuse?
No, he's not in the room.
He left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it got too hot in here.
Although technically...
Which is, by the way, why I was... The first part of the script I was reading a little fast, because I was just sweating. I just cranked the AC, so...
It technically kind of is Fuse, because the fan got clogged,
is
probably with his hair.
Is that what causes the yellow...
And then it overheated, yeah.
Yellow light of death?
Yeah, so it probably was Fuse's fault, honestly.
We can fix this.
No, you can't. You have to take the CPU. You have to take the cell processor apart and resolder it. I looked it up.
But is the Dead Space 2 level in LittleBigPlanet still on there?
Yeah, somewhere.
We'll rip that hard drive out. Right?
Yeah, take the hard drive out. It can still live on.
Yeah.
In terms of the IP, who knows what's next, if anything. This seems like a kind of heavy nail in the coffin. Weird when you consider their titular Sackboy's appearances in separate media, including that awful Amazon show. Although, also like you, I believe it was you earlier that brought up like to me that he was later snuffed out of that Marvel-style intro animation that plays before PlayStation Studios exclusive titles. So
the Amazon show, Secret Level, the episode that he appeared in was just that one that was just an enormous PlayStation commercial, right?
Yes, the one with the Helldivers and
yeah. So he had a cameo.
Colossus or something.
You know?
Well, so what happened was after the PS5 launch,
but what are they advertising then? What are
they took all their mascots from all their franchises who didn't sell well enough, and Shuhei Yoshida put on an executioner robe and hacked their heads off one by one. Sackboy was the first to go because Sackboy's Big Adventure didn't do well.
That was not even a Little Big Planet game. That was like a Mario 3D World clone.
Man, you should have seen what they did to The Last Guardian. Whew.
Yeah. that bird cat is now separately a bird and a cat.
Well, tough break, my little guy. I'll always love you and your little outfits and little expressions that are mapped to the D-pad for some reason. There is
also Astrobot. Love the game.
It slaps. Yeah.
The mascot, dumb looking.
You don't like the look of Astrobot?
No. Compared to Sackboy,
they're both pretty cute. Yeah.
No.
They're like almost the same design.
One's chrome.
One of them's stitched, and the other one's like all like Star Wars Episode 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Star Wars
Episode 2.
In the sand? Ugh. Okay. Yeah. That's my line in the sand. One looks like A New Hope, and the other one looks like Attack of the Clones. That's all I'm gonna say.
There is a rumor of a PS5 remaster, and Media Molecule has continued to stay alive. I'm worried about them once Dreams is taken outside the shot. Yeah.
Oh, wait, it hasn't been already? Like that's
what. Surprising.
Media Molecule is still around somehow.
That is
Dreams is no longer
Dreams
supported.
In particular, because like they
no, Dreams is no longer supported.
Okay, well, it's still running.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I was asking because like they spent like what 6 to 8 years on Dreams.
Way too long. Yeah.
When they started work on it, the idea of like all that user generated content that you could have at your fingertips was like it was extremely enticing. By the time they got the game out, it was like, why would I not just go download the Unity engine? You know,
why wouldn't I use a more universal infrastructure to this thing that's kind of trapped on that console? Like,
exactly. It's like it is trapped on that console. It's trapped in that game, and it's like,
there's no way they're gonna preserve all that shit either.
No, but didn't they?
No, absolutely
at one
not.
Point,
it's got the same exact destination.
Yeah, didn't they at one point, right before they stopped supporting it, didn't they put out tools that you could export certain things, like 3D models and stuff to...
I do think that was added at one point.
Because a lot of the assets that you could create in Dreams could be exported and then used in Unity and stuff like that. So...
That's cool.
I don't know if you could export the logic.
How many people do you think are out there wearing their PSVR, like 3D sculpting shit in Dreams? Like...
I don't know how many people are out there wearing their Oculuses 3D sculpting stuff in whatever fucking program they made. Doesn't seem like a popular hobby.
However many, it's definitely more than are in Dreams.
Also, a PS5, if a PS5 version did come out, there's no way they would be able to go back and bring think.
It's always possible. If Andrew,
there's a way. I'm saying would they?
I don't know if they do it, but if Andrew's correct and these are just like JSON files, it would not be hard to keep them stored on a hard drive somewhere.
Do you think it would relaunch with that component again?
The hardest part, I don't know if Media Molecule wants to make a game where you don't create shit. They tried that with Tearaway and it was
Yeah. Tearaway was cool.
Tearaway was fun, but...
it's fine if that's their shtick too, right? Like I just think Dreams was overkill. It's like I feel like
Dreams, because Dreams wasn't even a game.
Right, it was a thing that made games.
Yeah,
which that's the problem. It's like
remember Game Builder Garage?
Also, I think weirdly, we're past.
Yeah,
I think we're weirdly past
Mod Nation
user-generated
Racers
content.
Was them?
Era.
No, I don't think we're not past user-generated content. Steam Workshop does bananas, but they're mods, like.
They're mods, though.
You're talking about Generation Remix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Velocity Girl.
I'm just saying, if there's a difference between a workshop mod where Steam can just be like, hey, check this box that says we're not responsible for whatever you download, versus something that's built
Like
into the
integrated,
game, because then
yeah.
you have to like filter out shit. Like the hardest part of getting all the old Little Big Planet levels and putting them into a Little Big Planet remaster would be going through all of them and finding all the hate speech. And
Oh,
shit
and actually,
and
deleting it.
removing
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
turn
good
on the
point.
dick filter, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So credits to my sources on the first half of my script here. The aforementioned Eurogamer, LPB Union, the Pink News, Screen Rant, IGN, Kotaku, and the Wayback Machine for assistance in my research for this portion of the episode. Now we're on to dissect the predicaments surrounding Titanfall's unprovoked ambush by privileged nerd bullies. Rewinding again to 2021. Actually, no. Let's jump to 2019, where the first drops of blood in the water were smelled. Annoyances initially started on the PC, with customers highlighting login issues and files incorrectly misreading which map packs were installed when they should have all been present. It then saw a rough launch on Steam that next November in 2020, when it was finally lifted free from the clutches of EA's Origin client. Those like myself who've been championing the game for years were shocked to find it sitting at an immediate, mostly negative reception. This largely from server disconnections, broken matchmaking, frequent crashes, and a severe audio bug that treat players to an ear-blistering static buzz sound. This just made it apparent the amount of care that was given to this version. And those that did get in were questioning the stability of everything from a infestation of rampant cheaters. It's kind of like if you ever log onto an old Call of Duty, it's just free reign. The label of quality changed from what it was to, quote, mixed once a handful of these grievances were repaired, especially that piercing noise glitch. Still a bummer to watch after being so hotly anticipated for a demographic of new people to reach. A skeleton crew kept working on it, though. Conditions were getting better. That was till in April of 2021, Respawn would announce on their Twitter page that they got hit with their worst DDoS attack yet. No fear. Help was incoming, according to reps. There weren't any further comments. However, many stayed skeptical that a developer as large as them would prioritize this small, albeit passionate, fan base over their then cash cow of Apex Legends. Plus, they were mid-production on Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This was a 7-year-old product. I get it, but, they were charging money for it. So then days would pass, then weeks, then months. Reddit threads continued growing and growing, lamenting the abandonment. Even attempts to contact company employees and officials went unanswered. It appeared no attention was ever going to get assigned to this cult favorite anymore. In turn, the absence of moderation became prevalent, and as a result, the internet, being what it is in the 2020s, an influx of racist bullshit swarmed in, engulfing those that fought against the technical pushbacks. Users with slurs in their names, text chat messages, auto-spouting white supremacist rhetorics, offensive custom logos, hypocritically shown alongside EA's Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate badges.
Oh man, Notch got into the server, huh?
Every fucking time, this garbage. What originally was a fun, welcoming shooter was now a busted cesspool of juvenile edgelording and nihilism. And that image, by the way, is thinking about all of EA's slacktivists, hey, we're with you, but then that's just sitting next to all these people shit horrible what these people are making.
I hate this hobby.
Yeah.
I will say this does remind me when PUBG came out, and man, it was a long time ago because I still played a live service game. But
is this when it threw you into the chat room in the beginning? Yeah.
Well, it was that the game had a proxy chat feature, which back in the days of Halo 2 blew my mind. And
it was pretty cool.
Tons of fun. Yeah, exactly.
Modern Warfare 1.
That was so good.
Yeah.
And I knew it got ruined because I played games in the 360 era after that, right? I knew it was man, this has been bad for so long. I was like, but when's the last time I actually tried it? let me just turn it back on and see how it goes for one game of PUBG. And I turned
was it
it
a
on,
speed run to the N-word? Yeah, like...
Oh, well, while you're on the plane, this guy was basically, like, to a rhythm, only saying the N-word. Hard R, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, you know,
Well, time to turn this
changed.
back off.
And I turned it right back off. Yeah, exactly, there it goes. I turned it on for I didn't even get off the plane, and I already turned it back off.
You went to dip your toe into the pool, and it was like a lava just on fire.
Yeah, there was a piranha already bit the toe off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
While Electronic Arts ignored this, dedicated enthusiasts tried to deconstruct the problems for themselves. It was soon revealed on thegamer.com that a serious unhidden vulnerability allowed these hack groups in to, quote, fully populate rooms with bots as a means to prevent regular players from queuing. Those defenders also tracked down one of the lead culprits that wore a racist handle identical to that of another who was tormenting the Team Fortress 2 community unrestricted and unbanned for years. We can't 100% confirm that this is the same, individual, but it was likely him, judging by what was described of their pathetic behavior, as well as his ability to insta-kill anybody who mistakenly joins him in a game.
That'll show him.
Yeah. And come on, you're fucking EA and Valve. Figure this crap out. Like,
all right, I want to take a little sidebar here, though, and say, like,
yeah,
if your hobby is creating a lobby in a shooter full of bots so that nobody else can join you with a race and then just spewing racist shit, like, kill yourself, dude. Like, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's a typical 8chaner. Wouldn't you get tired of the joke? Wouldn't that run out after a while?
I would
Maybe
imagine
not.
so, but...
Doesn't have a lot of other stuff going on, I guess.
Sure. And toxicity to that degree shouldn't be this common.
Well, it was Trump's first term.
No,
Randy,
yeah.
You've worked.
We're in 2021.
You've worked in do work customer service, but have you ever been a cashier?
Yes.
Okay, so my experience as a cashier is, you could have 9 perfectly fine, normal customers in a row, but when you get that 10th one that's irate or otherwise just ruins your day, it's like, you tend to forget those 9.
You're right.
Right.
I am guilty of that.
Yeah,
because I worked sales for years, yeah.
Like, are there that many, like, toxic people in online games, or is it just, like, they can just suck all the air out of the room so that you only notice them and not the people who are normal?
Where's our Batman out there?
That's my guess.
No. I'm going to actually assume that, I'd say the majority of people, myself included, play almost every game passively, like without using text chat or the voice chat, and just look down and play my game and not troll people like others. Yeah.
Yeah, even if they do use the voice chat, they're using it like a normal human being with a functioning brain.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunately somewhere in the middle.
It's like the amount of people that actually leave a comment or a post to something, or who just,
I mean, I think it's somewhere.
Read it and move on.
I think it's somewhere in the middle where I think that, like, the amount of dedication to, like, out yourself as a racist, homophobic piece of shit is very uncommon. But those voices,
the minority will be the loudest.
But those voices get amplified by going viral in social media and the way that it works.
There's a good red letter about that with the Ghostbusters.
But I think that there's also a not insignificant amount of people who think that that's funny or okay and just don't, and play like you said, where they don't say anything or do anything.
Yeah. Or they're with their own friends in like a Discord server. And
if Twitch, for whatever reason, decided tomorrow that they're just not going to ban hate speech anymore, the most popular streamer on the platform would be just shouting the R word or the F slur or the N word just relentlessly, because their 13-year-old fans would think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
unfortunately.
Once their own forums caught wind of this, the racism slowed, thankfully. However, their tactic of causing crashes remained uncontested. Whoever would bot rush the servers to the point of overwhelming them into oblivion, and like then they, rinse and repeat. They take up space in public lobbies. They take up space in private lobbies. This at all hours of the day and night. See, apparently Titanfall 1 doesn't verify your Origin account that it's supposed to be linked to when factoring in this particular oversight. Due to their then 2009 build of the source engine, it didn't permit a profile's name to be as long as the Origin API does. When one was created, it could then bypass their weak securities checks.
That's a pretty classic buffer overflow attack. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read this paragraph verbatim, and then you dudes are going to break it down for me.
Okay.
I mean the listeners. Got it? All right. Quote, despite the slot not being reserved by a real Titanfall client, the script can still reserve a slot because it fails to provide anything when the servers request verification, allowing the script to take up space on servers while it waits until it expires via timeout. The script can retry faster than a real Titanfall client can, keeping slots reserved. Because the slot is reserved by the server, it won't allow any user with an actual client join request to replace it until the server gives up the connection by timeout, which is around 3 minutes. End quote.
So
Okay.
does this sound
And
this sounds like a mutex lock to you, Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in when you go to like check out and like buy tickets to something, like if you picked seats but you haven't confirmed the order yet, they don't want to sell someone else the
like a
seats
movie.
that you're trying to buy, right? Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm saying, right? So
Okay. This is why I have. Oh, yeah, it's a good translation. Yeah, it's a language I can understand.
they have it reserved just in case you confirm that you want to be in the game, but they don't know that you want to be in the game yet. So this keeps on saying, no, I want to try to get into the game, but then it never actually goes through with it. So then it denies anybody else the opportunity to get that same slot.
Right.
Is
and
how I
somehow
understand what you just
They
said.
they have their bots just constantly trying to connect and then timing out and retrying before the server times out and retries. So the slot is always full when a normal person comes in. And if a normal person comes in and is waiting for the server to time out and then give them that slot, the bot just times out first and then refills the slot before the server will kick it out.
All right. Well, thank you much.
Yeah.
So even when you could find a legitimate lobby, post a ridiculous search, this shit would then kick you out regardless. Cool.
Mhm.
If by whatever graces you didn't get the boot, or a system crash, or a lost connection, this tampered failsafe would manually intervene with a prompt that states, quote, disconnect, ELIKSNI _ hentai overflowed reliable channel. Cute.
Well, I don't know where the hentai came from, but remember
it's
we
so
were
predictable,
just saying
these
overflows.
These gooners. So the game was left to rot. A zombie of its former self. Calls, chats, and emails to their tech support offices went nowhere. Those curious who went to the store's listing page were laid witness to buttloads of pleas to warn potential buyers not to engage. The baseline of active participants quickly dwindled too, unsurprisingly. You could see it on that Steam charts, or not Steam charts.
Steam charts.
It is Steam charts. Okay.
Steam charts.
Yeah. By that July, T1 was mostly dead and buried, but T2 and Apex Legends were flourishing. Or at least the latter was, until it found itself at the center of its own shitstorming. And on every platform. You can't escape this like you could before on the Xbox. God, this is hilarious. Well, aggravated Titanfall lovers were sick and tired of being oppressed, so they took it upon their ilk to send a message to the suits above. Soon on the 4th, this is July 4th, instead of the menu of Apex portraying the usual options and modes, the URL savetitanfall.com was written. This with the subheader, quote, Titanfall 1 is being attacked, so is Apex. Playlists couldn't be joined either, obviously, and now the BR was formally unplayable. Maybe they'd finally fucking do something, right? This had to be the ticket for America.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have that impassioned Bill Pullman speech, like, we will not go quietly into the night.
Yeah.
We're going to go on.
Yeah.
We're going to survive.
You got to admit, their demands are clear, and it
Today.
wasn't like
is our Independence Day.
Their demands were clear, and it wasn't riddled with bigotry. You know, they're better than that. When people visited that site, by the way, it's no longer in operation. There was a petition to sign, I believe, and several grumblings exclaiming in text that both EA and Respawn Entertainment were culpable and was, quote, willingly pretending that they do not know about the situation, then going to allege that they were, quote, committing fraud by continuing to sell the game.
Oh, that sounds a lot like a link that you shared in chat about how it was relevant to today's episode.
Yeah, so we can bring that up. Yeah.
Okay.
If you know the details of that, yeah.
A little bit, right? And so there's the whole. I mean, listen, this is the underpinning theme of today's episode in general. We were all talking about stepping up on our soapbox. Game preservation is near and dear to me. And I want to talk about it way more than I would want to listen to somebody else talk about something that they're passionate about. So I try to restrain myself. And to accommodate me, Austin has made an emote in our Discord server that is just soap in a box. So that way, whenever I say whenever I say I want to get up on my soapbox, instead of preaching at people, which I would hate if it happened to me, I just put that emote there to be like, look, game preservation is important. Here it is. It's a problem again.
I agree.
So right now, going on in the EU is the Stop Killing Games Citizens Initiative, which is like this petition that you were just talking about, Randy, except this one actually has legal repercussions for passing.
And it's a lot grander in scope. And
yes, we may get downstream benefits as Americans from what the European Union and to a lesser extent the United Kingdom are also doing with their initiatives. So
I never thought I'd be on the same side as PewDiePie.
PewDiePie lives in Japan.
Oh, really?
Oh, does he?
I thought he was from...
He's from Sweden, but he moved to Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. So in any case, this petition has passed its threshold and is still going into overtime, basically, which is good. It needs to keep climbing. But it has finally gotten enough attention that a European lobby group has responded to the petition to say why. And basically, the Stop Killing Games initiative, for those who haven't heard, is basically everything that we're talking about right now, where this server comes down or gets taken down, and now your game just doesn't work. And usually the way this happens is because the publisher decided to shut it down themselves, not because they got attacked.
Yes.
So this petition is saying, when you are done supporting a game, you need to give us the ability to still play this game somehow, whether that's providing us the servers or otherwise, right?
Even if we're supporting it ourselves, like it's... Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, we do not expect you to run the servers forever. That is an unreasonable ask or expectation, like just by the laws of physics and knowing how work works, you know? Like, you don't expect somebody to have a job forever when it doesn't make any money. So, this there's a European lobby group that they're getting scared at what this petition could mean.
And also
to their
that
business.
group... Those lobbyists make up almost every tech and game company ever.
Yeah, exactly.
With the exception of Valve. Yeah, but.
So they came up with a lot of reasons, and it's all the usual suspects of why they can't possibly do this. But one of the reasons that they gave, which was very funny and immediately related to the link that you shared, Randy, was that they said, well, then this would open up our customers to security exploits. Where people would be able to, it would be a new vector for attack to our customers. And this, like, being in full control of our servers protects them from these things, right? And when this was brought up, because there are active interviews going on around this petition all the time, people were like, Microsoft still sells old Call of Duty games that we've known for years have remote code execution exploits, which is basically like, now that I know you're playing this game on the internet, I can now execute whatever program I like through this game that you're playing. And people knew about it for years. They never took it down. Like, it was just like, hey, be careful about this. Perhaps because of this initiative, it gained more attention. And then so
like
there
people
were a lot
noticed
more
it.
Attacks, and now it's been taken down. Right. It's like they weren't protecting anyone from the security. Like, let's be clear what the whole point of this stuff is. It's like, no, like the difference between an online game that was built to last 20 to 25 years ago and one that's built now that is not built to last, the difference is they can upsell you on more microtransactions. Whereas back in the day, it was like, no, they sold you the game and they were done. So now they want to be done with a game, after they've spent what they were willing to spend on it, and they want the money to keep rolling in, but they don't want to have to fix it when anything goes wrong. And let's be clear, even if nothing went wrong with it, it would still be worse than being able to run it yourself, right? Like the infamous, what was it, Error 37 on Diablo 3 or 4? 3, I think, right?
Takes
3.
me back.
It's like,
yeah.
it's like every Blizzard game that comes out, there's like a login queue and nobody can play on the first day. And it's like, well,
that's
if they just let you play if they just let you play without their server, you'd be able to play your game right now. You know, the Sumo Digital game I brought up earlier is a game called Death Sprint 66, which looks like a pretty cool racing game. Unfortunately, it is built entirely to only be workable with a server. There is no offline multiplayer. There is maybe now offline bots, but here's the thing, is that when your game is designed to be online only, then it loses all of its value when there's nobody else playing it. And I think enough people have started to catch on to that, depending on the game.
I hope so, because the percentage of what they're saying, like, it was already alarming maybe 10 years ago, but that's only becoming increasingly scary when it's like, when they're like,
there's so many games out there now.
It's like fractions of a percent of shit's just going to go on forever.
On top
and we should point out, by the way, that one of the games we were referring to there was most recently in the news cycles Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah. But
which just got added to Game Pass and then abruptly taken off.
Well, right. The funny thing about Call of Duty is that the World War II problem is the most egregious because it's remote code execution. But I don't think I can name a Call of Duty before the most recent Modern Warfare and Black Ops reboots that works online, that isn't filled with cheaters, that like.
And those servers are still up. You can go play World at War on a 360 right now.
Exactly.
Modern Warfare.
It's full of cheaters.
Yes,
and I remember specifically when Call of Duty, or when Microsoft bought Activision, and then the first Call of Duty game that got onto Game Pass was Modern Warfare 2 or 3, and then Black Ops 6. And everybody's like, "Oh man, I can't wait for them to add all those Call of Duties to Game Pass so that I can
putting
play
Black Ops
them again."
on Black Ops 2 on there.
And there was like that was another reason why it came back up, Andrew, was just because people were like, "You guys have been playing," because like Call of Duty can be played offline. You can play zombies, you can play campaign, and that's what most people do.
Spec Ops.
Yeah, but people were unaware of just how broken and horrible the old Call of Duties were online,
because all their attention just shifts to the next game to maintain. Like, they're all
completely unplayable.
Yeah.
It's that, and to some extent, cheating is just about inevitable. You know, like, so if it's like if you don't have the reason why this wasn't really a problem 20 years ago is because you would run the server yourself. And if somebody cheated, you would just ban them and then never see that person again.
Yeah, right? So you did in old school CS and Battlefield.
Yeah. The individual server managers would decide who gets in, and if you didn't like how a server was run, you ran your own. Now, there's a lot to say about how much I enjoy matchmaking and stuff too, but you need to add that other option because, like you guys said, like they're not going to have their attention on this game forever. They're going to have their attention on the next game later. And at some point, this game just becomes unplayable for whatever reason. In this case, you get match made with cheaters, or some problem comes up that is too expensive to fix based with compared to the revenue that the game is bringing in years after it launched, right?
Or in the case of LittleBigPlanet, like it gets so bad that they just throw their hands up and they're like, "Fuck it." It's
exactly, and like every game's popularity wanes, every single one of them except chess. But other than that, it's like, even if it's like Tetris. League of Legends or whatever.
Magic the Gathering.
But it's like, even if, a popular narrative, I would say, is that people will say, well, they shut that game down because it wasn't any good, right? Because if it was good, people would still be playing it. Like, no, you moron. Because this happens to forever, every video game. Every video game will lose people, and then when they start to lose people, then they start cranking the monetization knob higher to make up for the people that they lost. And then that makes people come away with this feeling of like, oh, they made
Destiny.
it worse, and that's why people left.
Sorry.
Yeah, something in my throat.
Exactly.
I got a cold.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's a tale as old as time. Like, it happens to every live service game. So, it's like, the games are worth being preserved, and if you liked it at one point, it would have been worth preserving it then too. And if it got worse, it was because they were trying to make up for the people that they're bleeding out of the game, which is also happening to Apex Legends at this point, you know? So,
right.
Yeah.
If that it is.
There's a couple stories that I don't have off the top of my head.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you
Apex
mentioned
Legends
a game
has like really cranked the monetization knob.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Oh yeah, you want to talk about the cycle?
Yeah, because I wasn't familiar with that story, and it's very relevant.
Yeah. You know the Cycle Frontier, Andrew?
I remember hearing the title, but I can't remember what it's about anymore.
Okay, so Cycle Frontier is a extraction shooter, but it was like an early one. It's made by Jaeger, the people that made Spec Ops 1.
Oh, it's Jaeger.
Yeah.
Shit.
And it was a pretty early extraction shooter, and at one point, it was the third in line. It was the Smite to Tarkov and Hunt Showdowns,
right.
League of Legends, and Dota.
Yeah,
sure.
It was in like eternal beta essentially for like years, and then they decided to finally 1.0 it, and it was called the Cycle, then they called it the Cycle Frontier. And like, you know, Twitch streamers were playing it. It was getting some good buzz, and for like the first 2 to 3 months, the player numbers were growing, and then somebody found an exploit to completely get around their anti-cheat, and the game just flooded with cheaters, and they scrambled to work with like external third-party partners to fix the anti-cheat, but it took them a couple months, and by that time, nobody was playing the game anymore. And they tried to do all this they tried to release all this new content that was planned before the cheating problem happened, and that didn't draw anybody back.
They fucking ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, and then basically it was like the game came out 1.0 in like June 2022, and I think it was announced in June 2023 that it was shutting down.
I'm starting
and then
to buy more
down,
into your COVID theory here.
It shut down at the end of 2023, and there is a quote which I might be able to find that is basically what you said. Yeah, Jaeger stated that continued support for the game was unfortunately not financially viable, and that the game could not be played in offline or in private servers due to its, quote, dedicated back-end system, which does not allow keeping the game somewhat available after being shut down.
Tale as old as time.
Yep.
So that's the, like, and part of what Stop Killing Games is about future-proofing games that haven't been built yet. And there is,
because right now it's just inevitability.
Well, no, there is some truth to a lot of games right now saying we can't just give you the server because they are licensing technologies. They're licensing technologies that don't allow for them to do it because they never planned for this contingency. So what
it's very short.
Games is about is exactly what Stop Killing Games is about is requiring them. It's requiring them to plan for that contingency and make sure that if they're licensing something to do their servers, they need to have a plan B. Like that's
it's like let's reassess here. Yeah.
But instead, you're right, Austin. I was vaguely aware of this game at the time, and the all-time peak of 40,000 on Steam. That's nothing to laugh at. That's pretty. It's still pretty significant, and the fact that it's gone so quickly that I've already forgotten about this game. Right?
Yeah, it's just like tears in the rain, man. That's a memory.
Oh man,
and it's like
absolutely.
there is like the aspect of like, oh well, if the game was good, then it would have been taken down, or why didn't they just make the anti-cheat good the first time? And it's just like people's attention spans don't work that way.
Hey, Overwatch 1 was pretty good. Where's that?
And well, you say like,
are you sitting down?
Yeah.
You can't take. You would like in the case of LittleBigPlanet, and I would argue somewhat in the case of Titanfall, although I think LittleBigPlanet is more. It's like I would go as far as to say that LittleBigPlanet 1 deserves a place in video game history alongside some of Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony's other greats.
I concur.
Like I think LittleBigPlanet.
That was the beginning of them getting that generation back on track with
LittleBigPlanet 1
with Heavy Rain and then Metal Gear Solid 4 and Uncharted 2.
Obviously LittleBigPlanet 1 is no Mario 3D, right? But like LittleBigPlanet 1 deserves a place alongside like a Jak and Daxter. I would argue it's more influential and special, and it's just gone because it got fucked, and there is no incentive to preserve it for the sake of allowing future generations to play a game as important as Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
And like, that's I'm reiterating a bunch of the stuff Andrew said about stop killing games, but essentially it's like, if you go back and you spend however much money it fucking costs, and you buy a Nintendo 64 and you buy a copy of Ocarina of Time, you can play that game in its entirety.
Hell yeah, brother.
And I would argue that Little Big
Damn
Planet
right.
deserves a place where, if you are showing, let's say, your future child the history of video games, Little Big Planet might deserve a place in there, and there is no way to sit that child down in front of that game and show it to them.
And we'll get into like kind of.
And you also can't sit that child down in front of Titanfall.
Well, I was about to say we're gonna get the end result of Titanfall soon here too,
or Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah, these kids missing.
Yeah, kids missing out.
So this initiative, this SaveTitanfall.com. What was it? Yeah, the
SaveTitanfall.com.
SaveTitanfall.com. Yeah. So this is a tough position for everyone involved, because, like, I feel you. Predominantly to those that were insisting on refunds and weren't getting them. Not that this is the correct path, of course. Blame the publisher, sure. Don't harass the artists. Like, it wasn't their fault, and you know they probably weren't able to make your request nor speak publicly on it. Hopefully there wasn't any doxing or death threats, but, like...
You know there were.
But then it's inexcusable, and forget whatever high ground you think you're on. Like, on the surface, like, this looked relatively innocent, or non-violent, rather. You're costing them, you know, like, a loss of revenue, and the staff on the inside were mad as at balls about that, like, you know, with this stunt. But purely, like, I mean, like, the back and forth exchanges and handling of these raids were a thorn in the side of them for some time. And I'm sure this was the first or the last attempt to take down Apex. But, like, lately the developer team had to incorporate more tools and hire more help on manual bans from cheaters, to an increasing amount of angry fans DDoSing the rank sections of their precious, you know, games of service, season pass title. Nonetheless, they still wouldn't address the hacking of Titanfall 1. The frustrations only compiled. And to my Titanfall brethren out there, I understand that your experience was fucked, along with your yearning to go back to a simpler 2014, dismantled by a single colossal racist prick for literal years. But your direct targeting of the same group of individuals who could have possibly had resolved things now has their hands full with 2 video games in lieu of 1. Like, I don't give a flying fuck that people can't play their Apex and get their stupid skins. The article I got this from was very woe is me on that. It was like,
oh man,
super precious.
That poor
yeah,
author.
It was just, I can't play Apex. Wah. I care about the workers whose evenings were fucking ruined thanks to this bare knuckle approach. It's flawed logic and accomplishes nothing. That said, I commend its spirit. It's a nice try.
I don't know if it's exactly flawed logic.
No? The empathy,
I mean, like
yeah.
Ideally, you don't go after the devs and make them do double the work, but how else do you get at the people who are making the money?
Right.
Because how else do you get your message in front of the people making the money?
So
you stop them from making
money. Yes, that
in order to stop them from making money, you have to cost them money. And what costs money? Paying developers to not make more money.
That's a good point. Because in this case, like, the empathy just wore thin, and they weren't receiving the respect they deserved when the more dignified strategies of protesting weren't going anywhere. Like, wasn't effective. Like,
the actual problem with your little movement here is that people with money are they're petty children.
Mm-hmm.
And if it costs $10 million, if it costs $100,000 to fix Titanfall 1 and get this to stop, and it costs $10 million to fix Apex so that they can't do this anymore, they will pay $10 million so that the little children who are ruining their days on their yachts can't get what they want. That is how people with money work.
Yes.
It's all nickel and diming when it comes to, like, shareholders and stuff like that, but then once you're like, wait a minute, a poor got in the way of me making money? I mean, it's literally like that Elon tweet when Did you see that Elon tweet? When,
Which
not to bring that asshole up, but when he the Trump bill, the big beautiful bill passed, and he was like, every Republican that voted for this in Congress and Senate, I will make it my life's mission that you never get fucking elected again. I will spend all of my net worth if that's what it takes. And it's just like, bro,
What?
chill and take some more ketamine and chill out. Like, what the fuck? Like, they're just so like, yeah.
Yeah, you stomp your feet. To be devil's advocate as a consumer, I do proclaim that our protections are shit, as we've gotten into. There has to be a more...
I mean, you addressed it earlier when you said we have to piggyback off the British in order to get any consumer protections whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's not just video games. That's literally everything.
They left the EU. We have to piggyback off the EU. British left.
Right.
Oh, damn, man.
I have to
That's where we
piggyback
get
off the
stuff
Germans and the French. Sorry.
Exactly. No, definitely. The Germans and the French, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there needs to be more improved systems in place to put a stop to taking hard-earned dollars in exchange for a dysfunctional item or a soon-to-be dysfunctional one. And we absolutely should own the products we buy, digital or otherwise. This needs to be preserved for the benefit of the creator and the customer. So, you know, as we said, just time and time again, and as we've stated on here, we're going to keep doing it. You know, fuck DRM, bring back LAN and private servers, all that shit.
I'll always support the underdog. Also, like, in the case of LittleBigPlanet, like, the game is done. Nobody's buying it. The people that are left playing it have already paid their money.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony in corporate, in capitalist corporate speak, like, they're well within their right to just shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just leave a game in that state and continue to charge for it. Like, I would be more on EA's side if the Save Titanfall people did this after if Titanfall came out, they paid for it, and then it was removed like a day later.
Yeah.
And these people were pissed that it was removed. But like...
So, you're going to love this. Eventually, service was returned to Apex Legends. And to really twist the knife on those retaliations, EA would crack the whip in a press release stating that that December, that Titanfall 1 was to be removed from all online marketplaces on March 1st, 2022. If you do got it via disc or download, the servers will remain, just with no overhead to put an end to the hacking. Great. And that's where it stands today.
How many months did it take them to remove it?
Problem solved. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Let's see. So it was the 4th of July,
right?
When they came after Apex, and it was probably within like.
And then March the next year was when it was removed from all platforms.
Yes, but they announced in December.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So 9 months?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Sick.
And shouts out to my sources on the second chapter of that ugliness. Gamer.com, PC Gamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, Eurogamer again, Kotaku again, and the Steam application for, shit. And also
for tracking
Steam charts,
numbers.
yes.
Yeah.
Anywho, what did we learn today? That black hat tactics works and white hat ones don't. I'm kidding. That's even accurate.
When you own nothing, we are not happy. That's what we learned.
We learned that if you type the N-word into a computer interface, the computer should self-destruct. That's what we learned.
That'd be good, yeah.
Yeah.
We learned that if only Sony allowed us to put levels on a flash drive and read them into LittleBigPlanet, we'd be okay right now.
Yeah.
I like that reminds me of the people that...
You should just get liquid crystal in your eye
like,
if you type the N-word into it.
That pulled PT off their PS4s, but they can't actually do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
But they got it. Like, they found a way.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
It's like when
Life
people
finds
get
a way.
frozen when they're dying, like just in case there's like a cure.
Yeah, it's like
later.
Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
with the anti-Semitism and the frozen head.
But this shit just sucked. It's truly insane to me what can get taken away versus what's force-fed you over and over. Titanfall and LittleBigPlanet are awesome, and they should have an accessible avenue to bring joy to others. And fuck racists. Companies need to do better. Literally this morning, I shared to you guys that story on what's going on right now with Call of Duty World War II and PC that we got into. And I don't know if we stay fully that was patent. So that Microsoft uploaded an older compromised version on their store that people quickly reverse engineered to do nefarious shit with. So, whoops. And man, I don't know. Fans also need to relax. It ain't that important. Yeah. But thank you both. The floor is open for any final thoughts. It goes without saying that this was only a mere 2 examples in a sea of thousands and thousands more set to drown with them.
It's not even the only game Sumo Digital worked on that doesn't work anymore.
Right, yeah.
Andrew brought up another one.
And you got into that cycle.
No, that one still works. It's just so on the chopping block that it's like
they worked.
Even if
they worked on Hood, Outlaws, and Legends, which doesn't work anymore. I own that game.
Oh right, yeah, and that one was one. That was another one where you were like, "Oh, dude, I know when that comes out, it's not going to last very long." You know?
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
That was like when Radical Heights was like.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever that wrestling one was. But when I say fans need to relax, I meant with like with the hacking, not with actually like taking matters in your own hands to preserve shit. Because you see like, you know, completely like. What did I say?
The best way. I mean, Austin was saying before, it's like the best way to get.
But there's amazing stuff going on in those spaces. Yeah.
Yeah, the best way to get anything to change is to affect the people who are making money off of it. And that's why I don't spend my money or my time on anything that is designed this way, right? At some point, it's like continuing to buy it is continuing to tell them it's okay. But even that, it's like, man, it takes me so much research to find out if the thing I'm buying is going to be able to be remotely disabled by a server shutdown sometime. Like, it's so rough out there, man.
I got a weird example of one that I actually want to I want to bring up. It just popped into my head. So, Helldivers 1 has a similar kind of metagame element to it that Helldivers 2
that
does.
Game still works.
No, it still works.
We just played it at the wrong time.
No, but I think I've done research this and it's stuck in a perpetual endgame. So it's like it's still a playable, functioning product, but you can only do the end of the campaign. You can't play through the whole like story mode unless you do it offline.
It's like
you can do it offline.
You can locally, yeah.
There you go.
But you can't play. You can't play it online with your friend. Yeah.
Yeah, like Hitman, like you can play every level in the story mode, but you can't do all of the unlocks and like the additional like ways to replay those levels in new ways unless you have checked in with their server. And that's like
that's
the
interesting.
Way that both of these, the way that both of these things are like a gray area of like, well, it works offline, but like not all the way is like this is exactly how we've all been the boiled frog in the metaphor,
or not the way it's intended to. Yeah, exactly.
All of this stuff has been bent so far until it broke and we didn't even realize at some point, you know. And then it's like, and then you just think back and it's like, wait a minute. I can still play first-person shooters from 25 years ago, but not one from 10 years ago? That's nuts.
Yeah. I'm also so I'm currently playing Death Stranding 2 right now and really enjoying it, and it's like and what's cool about that is you don't need a PlayStation Plus account or anything because of their way the online player infrastructure model works with everyone.
That's good. I'm not signing up for PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, no, me neither. But probably never again. But it's like I wonder what's interesting, if I let my console like go to rest, it doesn't boot me out of the game. So I don't know how that ping servers. It does
it's probably not checking a server very often. It's probably just like loading in objects when you log in and then populating as it renders. But like you'd probably have to quit. Like if you quit the game and then came back in, you'd probably get different objects from people surrounding you. But
true.
It's probably just on boot up.
I just wonder how different of a game that will be 10 years from now. In the same way, like, you know how I played Journey way too late and I just didn't run into anyone online?
I played Death Stranding 2 years ago, and it was and I played it at launch. I didn't beat it at launch, and then I beat it 2 years ago. It was a vastly different game.
Really?
I mean, I had my wife play through Journey within the last year or so, but I specifically had her do it during a Steam sale, so that way there would be people online for sure.
Yeah.
Although
I did it towards the end of the PS3s, like before it was on PC or PS4.
Yeah, I do think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the PC version routinely has enough people online that you will always come across somebody, but it is weird. And then you've got even weirder stuff like FromSoft games, where they are designed to
Right.
be online and have all kinds of player interactions, but they also fake player interactions with NPCs in a lot of ways too. So you always still kind of get the experience even when the server's gone.
How long are those
bizarre.
messages going to be there?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, there are some messages that are just built into the game offline too, but
okay.
those messages in general, the
just-
ones from players, they need a server.
The server goes down, you don't get tri-finger butthole anymore.
Then again, it's none of these games are the ones that we're like actually worried about. It's just they have certain features that like, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we are in the know enough to know
Oh, we can
to watch
sense
out
that
for this.
shit a mile away.
It was
when-
like when
Yeah.
I played when we played FBC Firebreak, and it was just
dog
garbage.
shit. Yeah.
And then I played that rematch game, and I was like, this game is actually pretty fun.
They're both going to suffer the same fate.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way I'm going to play this any more than right now because I'm never going to get good at it before it gets taken
Before
offline.
it loses
Yeah.
popularity.
Yeah.
Oh, that is sad. I really got to get a funnier topic next time because these past couple. At least this misery was shorter. We got lots more in the pipeline soon, so stay
Did
tuned.
you ever have an episode about Randy Pitchford slipping on a banana peel? I've already forgotten. If
Oh
you
yeah, that was a two-parter, and we had to return to it in
you guys
in
have been
the
doing
anniversary.
this a
ones.
while, so forget
And
it.
Yeah.
we will be returning to it.
We got to do it again for the movie.
We're going to do the movie, but we
Yeah.
also will be returning to Randy Pitchford in our update in November.
Fuck, Borderlands 4 is coming.
Yeah, and also he can't keep his goddamn mouth shut.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's consistent.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Austin, plugs.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Apologies that our uploads are few and far between. Life gets in the way sometimes, but we are
Life comes at you fast.
Yeah. If you blink, you might miss it. That's what they say. And we've been blinking a lot. If you
Me too, because there's sweat in my eyes and how fucking hot this room is.
Yeah. But we do have 100+ episodes of backlog. If this is somehow one of the first ones you're checking out, you go check all those out at hotbuttoncast.com.
I'm trying to
You
think
can also-
what's in the same realm as this, because
Also podcast, the PSN hacking
yeah,
thing.
that's a biggie.
The PSN, the thing with Anonymous. Also the Minecraft hacking one that I did.
Yes, Mirai
The
botnet.
Mirai botnet one.
Yeah,
That's in line with this. Yeah, but there's tons of episodes. You can check them out, hotbuttoncast.com. Also,
We shouted a lot
all
of
the
this before.
podcast feeds. Your Googles, your Spotifys, your YouTubes, whatever. And then you can also check out our socials for news on upcoming episodes, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at HotButtonCast.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening.
All right. Good night, folks.
Good night.